Welcome to Impromptu Speaking Judging. Impromptu speaking is a fun and dynamic event where students think on their feet. As a judge, you get to encourage their creativity and help them shine. We'll guide you every step of the way to make sure you feel confident and comfortable. When you arrive to the tournament, you'll receive an event packet for each round you're judging that day. Each packet is specific to one round and includes everything you'll need to run it. When you open your impromptu packet, start by reading the direction sheet. It tells you how to run the event and includes a script to read aloud. You'll also find a roster. There are usually 6 to 10 students per room. The topic list shows all 15 topics students might draw from. Next, you'll find a smaller envelope with 15 topic slips that students will draw from. You'll also have a set of judging ballots. You'll fill one out for each student. Finally, there's a judge note sheet where you jot down brief impressions during the round. We'll go into more detail on how to use these documents as we discuss what happens during the round. But first, let's discuss classroom management and setup. As a judge, you're responsible for keeping the room clean and orderly. We're guests on the school campus, and we hope to be invited back. Please monitor students and observers. Avoid moving any teacher belongings or sitting at their desk. Before the room fills up, take a few pictures. This will help you return everything to its original place when you're done. You'll encounter a variety of classroom setups. Just do your best with what you have and follow the general guidelines shown here. There should be a designated prep table near the front of the room, where each student will sit for their 3-minute preparation time before speaking. It's labeled Prep on the map. Judges should choose a seat in front of the speaker, not behind them. I recommend sitting near the back of the room when possible. This allows you to clearly see the speaker while also monitoring the rest of the room. Each student may bring up to 2 adult observers. Be sure to seat students and observers separately. Students in the front, observers in the back. This helps avoid distractions, prevents adults from speaking to their children during the event, and protects the integrity of the contest. You'll also see a presentation zone marked at the front. This is where students will stand and deliver their speech. Now that the room is in order, it's time to wait outside for the students to arrive. You'll stand at the door with the roster during the check-in window and greet students as they arrive. Each student may bring up to 2 adult observers. These must be adults only. No other students or young children are allowed to attend as observers. We ask students to begin lining up outside their contest room 15 minutes before the event starts. This means you should arrive a few minutes before that to check the room setup and get settled. Stand at the door with your roster. Place a check mark next to each student's name as they enter to show they are present. If a student does not arrive by the time the contest begins, write "no show" next to their name. If a student arrives but is not on your roster, it may be a registration issue. These situations are rare and must be approved by the tournament director. To avoid making a scene, it's best to handwrite their name at the bottom of the roster and speak with tournament staff afterward. Once it's time for the contest to begin, close the door and enter the room. Make sure all students and observers are seated in the appropriate areas. Then, read the directions aloud using the script provided in your packet. While reading the script, you're welcome to add your own style and tone or clarify where needed, but be sure not to skip any important information. This helps ensure all students receive the same directions and understand what's expected. There are a lot of moving parts to running an impromptu speaking room, and we know it can feel like a lot at first. So next, let's break things down step by step. Just make sure you keep your cool. Students are listed on the roster in the order they should speak. So student number 1 speaks first. Student number 2 goes second, and so on. If you have any no-shows, just skip them and move to the next student. You'll repeat the same process for each speaker. Once you finish with one student, you start again with the next. Each student will go through the same 3-step cycle. First, they draw 3 topics and select one. Second, they have 3 minutes to prepare at the prep table using blank paper. Third, they deliver their speech, up to 5 minutes long. Once a student is done, you'll repeat the cycle with the next speaker until all have presented. Next, we'll cover each step in more detail, starting with the draw topic step. You'll have an envelope with 15 paper slips inside. Each slip has 1 topic written on it. When it's a student's turn, have them come to you and randomly draw 3 topics from the envelope. Give them a moment to look over the topics and choose the one they'd like to speak about. Once they've made their selection, ask them to return the 2 unused topics back into the envelope. These will be reused by the other contestants. Now that the student has their topic, it's time for them to prep. Seat them at the designated prep table. This is where they will plan their speech before presenting it. Students will have 3 minutes to prepare. They may use their own blank paper and writing utensil to organize their ideas, but notes may not be used during the actual speech. These materials are not provided by the tournament. If a student finishes early and wants to begin their speech before the 3 minutes are up, it's okay to let them. But first, ask, "Are you sure you're ready to start?" This gives them a moment to double-check before moving forward. Once their prep time is over, it's time to begin their speech. They'll speak on the topic they selected, without using any notes. They can refer to ideas they wrote down during prep, but the speech itself must be delivered from memory or improvised. There's no minimum time, but students may speak for up to 5 minutes. Be sure to time each speech. After a student finishes, thank them, have them sit down quietly, and move on to the next person on the roster. Continue until all students have spoken. For each student speaker, you'll complete one evaluation sheet, also called a ballot. You can begin filling it out during the student speech and finish during the next student's prep time. If you still need more time, you can catch up at the end of the round. Just make sure every student gets a complete evaluation. The ballot includes a list of judging criteria, like organization, delivery, confidence, and vocal variety. You'll rate each area on a scale, but you don't need to total the numbers. The scores are just a guide to help you decide on your rankings. At the bottom, there's space for written comments. You don't need to write a long paragraph, but please jot down at least one specific strength and one suggestion for improvement. Students and coaches really do read these and use them to grow. Keep your tone kind and constructive. These are kids doing a very challenging thing. Avoid vague comments like "good job" or "nice voice." Instead, say something like, "You had great energy and eye contact. Next time, try to slow down a little so we can follow your ideas more easily." Also, don't copy-paste feedback across all the students. They're each different and deserve thoughtful, specific notes. Each judge also fills out the speech judge notes form. This form stays with the tournament director. Simply use the template provided. Write in each student's name, their final rank, and include a brief note about their performance. This gives the tournament team a clear snapshot of what happened in your room. You'll also need to record student ranks on the roster, the same one you use to check students in. On the screen, you'll see an example with the ranks written in red. Remember, there can be no ties in impromptu speaking. Each student must be ranked individually from first place to last. Use your evaluation sheets to help you decide. Some judges rank as they go. For example, once the second student finishes, they'll compare the first 2 and place their ballots in the order they're leaning toward. As more students perform, they continue updating the order of the stack, always comparing and adjusting. Others take notes and decide on final rankings after the last speaker. Either approach works. The most important thing is to be fair and consistent. Make sure your rankings match the quality and impact of each student performance, based on your observations and the ballot criteria. Once all students have finished speaking, you're ready to end the round. Thank the students and observers for participating, and let them know they are free to go. There's no need to make a big announcement. Just a simple, "Thank you all, you're dismissed," is fine. Since this is not a testing event, you don't need to collect anything from the students. They may leave with any notes they took. Dismiss them calmly, and make sure no personal items are left behind in the room. There's often a coach or a parent observer present who can help guide the students out. So escorting isn't necessary unless something unusual comes up. Once the room is clear, that's when you'll sit down and take your time finalizing your rankings and paperwork. Now that the students are dismissed, take a moment to double-check your rankings and make sure everything matches across the evaluation sheets, the judge notes form, and the roster. There should be no ties in your final rankings. When you're finished, bring all materials, ballots, the judge notes form, and the roster to the judge room and sign it in with the staff member on duty. They'll review it for any errors. Next, you'll either start preparing for your next round or be given a new task. Thanks for taking the time to complete this training. We appreciate your professionalism and support in making these events run smoothly. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to help.